The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade. Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade, where we educate, empower, and entertain. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, download, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Welcome back to The Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us here Tyvonne Conrad. He is an author, a poet, someone who loves music. He is an Eagle Scout. He was a United States Marine Corps veteran. I want to say thank you so much, Tyvonne, for being here and having this conversation with us. We're going to be speaking about understanding schizophrenia. So, Tyvonne, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, first, I want to find out for people who don't know, what is schizophrenia for those who are not aware of it?
As a schizophrenic, I can only talk for myself because everybody's schizophrenia is different from, one another.
Yes.
As a schizophrenic, I feel a lot of anxiety, major depression. I feel vertigo, upset stomach, a lot of upset stomachs, a lot of bad acid reflux. Sometimes I may hear things or see things that aren't normal to everyday life, or things that people don't normally hear or see. Sometimes I hallucinate. Sometimes I have, all the time I have really, really bad insomnia. I go through spells where I have trouble eating, trouble digesting food, and I get a lot of really bad headaches, and really bad anxiety attacks.
Interesting. What are some of the common misconceptions about schizophrenia that you frequently encounter, and how do these misconceptions impact the public's perception of this mental health condition?
Misconceptions. Some people think schizophrenics are crazy,
Mm,
like they belong, stuck in inpatient clinics and hospitals. Like, we can't cope with everyday life, and that's kind of a misconception because schizophrenics are very collective. As I said, I can only talk for myself, but
right.
I feel that as a schizophrenic, I'm a collective, calm person. I don't like to talk. I don't like to engage with other people, but I do, and I
Hmm.
can, when it comes down to it. If I have to.
Right.
But we're very calm, collective people, very understanding people. Um, Even though the mental disorder is, the symptoms are really bad, and it may we may it may seem that we're, these crazy people, um, that belong in an institution. It's really the opposite. We're very
Right.
open. We're very open-minded people.
Right. So people think that you're not normal human beings,
Yes,
basically.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a big misconception. Could you explain some key symptoms? I know you already did earlier, but I want you to give us some more and some characteristics of schizophrenia, including both positive and negative symptoms, want to help listeners understand the complexity of this disorder.
Um, Again, symptoms such as um, very negative symptoms are like I can't drive. My motor function skills are not that great, and I think schizophrenia plays a big part of that because every car I had in my life I ended up crashing,
Mm,
because I think it was due to schizophrenia that it affects our my motor function skills,
right.
where I ended up, losing my keys all the time. I ended up losing my possessions all the time because I would forget where I put them.
Mm,
I know I lost my wallet a bunch of times. Ended up losing my ID cards because my mind was somewhere else. Um, and that's a big symptom. Being a schizophrenic and having my mind somewhere else that's not focused on um, my immediate actions.
right.
Feeling disconnected from life, disoriented, is a big symptom with schizophrenia, um, and it plays a big part on dealing with dealing with everyday life and engaging with family and friends. Because as a schizophrenic, I'm again talking for myself. I'm not all there. you know I'm a calm and collective person, but at the same time my mind is somewhere else, worrying about things in my life, making sure that I'm on task, making sure that I'm focused enough to maintain myself
Right.
and manage my own life.
Right.
But it shuts me off from engaging with my family, my friends.
That's what I want to get to in terms of how it affects your daily life, in terms of your relationships, your work or school, and the overall quality of life that you have. How does it affect you? And I think I want people to also know, when is it that you found out you had schizophrenia?
I found out I had schizophrenia. I started being diagnosed. I was diagnosed with major depression in 2016. I started feeling signs and symptoms in 2016. I wasn't fully diagnosed with schizophrenia till 2021.
Mm,
I tried over 15 some medications that didn't work at all. Medications that made me angry, medications that didn't let me eat, medications that made me feel like a zombie, made me feel like I couldn't that I needed to sleep more, or made me feel like I couldn't sleep. You know,
mm,
staying up late at night, dealing with my insomnia, and on top of that, dealing with a medication that wasn't right for me
right.
was totally a disaster.
Question, is it that whoever it is that diagnosed you and gave you those medication, is that they did not know exactly what they were treating for them to not give you the proper medication
Oh
for
yes,
the symptoms?
it they they didn't know right away what was fully wrong with me.
Right.
So it was a test trial of, taking, different medications to see what worked and what didn't. And that
Mm,
really played a big part on my home life,
yeah.
my family life, because my medication decided for me, how I was feeling, how I was,
Mm, yeah.
coping with everyday life, coping with, my stress, my depression, and coping with things that I had to do during the day, and all at the same time trying to engage with my family and my friends, really took that away from me in my life. I started losing friends. I started losing people because, they just didn't want to be around. When I was going through my spells of, being depressed, being angry, being upset. Or maybe it wasn't that they didn't want to be around. Maybe it was that I didn't want to be around them. So to show that side of, I didn't want them to see that side of me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was more of it. Yeah, me being distant to people, so they didn't have to live with the way I was being. Really,
Understand. I understand that. What are some of the prevailing challenges faced by individuals? And you can only speak for yourself, diagnosed with schizophrenia. Um, regarding stigma and accessing mental health services and societal integration. How does that affect you?
Going out in public, for one, is very difficult for me. Because sometimes I'm not sure of my surroundings. Um, I just want to be to myself. I just want to, sit in a corner sometimes, dealing with people, engaging with people. Again, I don't. It's hard for me to talk to people sometimes. It's hard for me to get myself to talk to people sometimes.
Okay.
Being out in public. Mental health services for me, at first, going and getting help was the thing that ruining me, because I was afraid to take that step to becoming a healthier me. I didn't want to take that step to admitting I had a problem,
Mm-hmm.
or taking that step to taking medication to help me with my problem. I was afraid to, and that's why, it's sad these days to hear about so many people going downhill because they're afraid to take that first step to
Mm-hmm.
getting help. They're afraid to take the medicine. They're afraid to talk to their family and loved ones. They're afraid to talk to doctors. They're afraid to go to a clinic and seek out help. And that's the biggest downfall today in mental health.
Yeah,
And
but it's because of stigma, though. Because people are afraid of being stigmatized as something is wrong with them. They're afraid of losing people. They're afraid of being isolated by people. And the truth is, when people are going through things, whether it be mental health or any illness, we realize that people kind of separate themselves because one, people don't necessarily want to be around people who need help, really.
and yeah, absolutely. And I think people are afraid to lose, that maybe they won't be in control of themselves. They're afraid
Ah.
to lose themselves, to lose control of themselves. And you know when I was in the inpatient clinic at the hospital, there were times when I didn't feel like I was in control of myself because of the medication, or
Mm.
you know um or having somebody else's opinion in my life,
Oh,
and me
okay.
not having control
Of
of the
your
of the
even your own self, things that you want to do.
absolutely, yeah.
I understand that. I understand that. In what ways can families and friends provide effective support and understanding for someone diagnosed with schizophrenia? And what are some resources available for caregivers?
There's a lot of websites out there now these days that share mental health awareness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of programs out there for families and loved ones, friends to join, to learn with their loved one, going through mental health, or having that, or that has a mental health disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And all these there's just a bunch of programs out there, that and even when I was in the inpatient clinic, they would let people come in to see me, how I was doing. My mom came in to see how I was doing. It was very family orientated. Um, it was very connected.
Nice. So people still have the support system that they need.
Absolutely, yes, and that's a big part. Losing people is I think I think losing people is the biggest upset
Mm-hmm.
upset stomach in dealing with a mental health disorder, because when you start losing people, you start losing self-esteem,
Yes.
and you start losing that motivation, that drive within you to become, to feel better, because
Mm-hmm.
you're just constantly losing things, losing people, losing everything, losing control of yourself. And that's why I wrote the book. That's why I wrote my book, Gone in a Bit,
Mm-hmm.
um to express myself and show that there is, to set an example, to say, I went down this road. I had a lot of downfalls, but I found inspiration in my life. And even though all these bad things happened, something good came out of it.
Very nice. I love that. Tavon, for people who are afraid, for people who are dealing with mental health issues, like schizophrenia, and are afraid to go in to first get checked out and then see, be diagnosed by a doctor, what advice would you give them?
I would say take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. Take it slow. You know, and while all that's going on, find a light in your life. Find some inspiration in your life. Whether it's something, for example, if someone were to find my book and they read it,
Mm-hmm.
and it that sparks some inspiration in them to hold on to it, to grasp it, because if you find inspiration in life, inspiration is a light, and if you find inspiration in life, you're finding something that you like, and when you
Mm-hmm.
find something that you like, you find when you find something that you like, that's inspiration, and in that you're finding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you and you know and that's the biggest part, is when you find something that you like and you find something that you're interested, you're finding yourself, and then that's when you need to grasp onto that and hold on to it, because you found yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's an avenue that, anything, a picture, a painting, something, a quote, that you might like. If you find something that inspired you, you're finding yourself, and that means that you found yourself, that you're not lost.
True. I love that. Tavon, where is it that we can find your book?
You can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. You can find it on Google Books, um, Rakuten, I think it's called, and Apple Books.
On Apple Books. Okay. And if it is that persons want to get in touch with you, have a conversation, where is it that they can find you?
You can find me on my website at vinehouse.online,
Okay.
or my Instagram, at that's a at VINE.EHOUSE,
Okay.
and or Twitter, or X they call it these days, and
Mm-hmm.
that's at Tyvonne, TYVONNE underscore CO 99896.
99896. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tavon. Thank you
Thank you
for
so much.
sharing your story, and thank you so much for encouraging those out there who are also struggling with mental health issues. Thank you so much, because you have come out, and I think it's brave for you to come out and speak about this, because people need to hear that there is no stigma associated with getting help. People are normally afraid to come out and get help because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be separated from family, friends, loved ones. But you can get help, and you can get the emotional support that you also need.
I also think that when people do like drives for mental health, because there's a lot of drives that people do,
Right?
they should make it, fun and inspirational, not so like serious, like
Mm.
point target, like so that it's not just like a brochure, you know what I mean?
So it's not so much informational. It's more fun. So people would
Yeah,
actually want to hear about it and to get involved in it and actually do it.
absolutely.
Yes. I
Absolutely.
get you totally. I get you totally. Ah, thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for that nice take. It's a nice take. I think people out there, counselors, psychologists, everybody out there that's listening, when you're doing anything for mental health in the communities, wherever it is that you're doing, ensure that it's more engaging and fun. Not so daunting and downhill that people don't want to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
That's important. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to thank you to all my listeners on the Unfiltered by Jade, and we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.